Disclaimer: this story explores mature emotional themes, including love, self-discovery, and personal transformation. While it does not contain explicit content, viewer discretion is advised. The way she looked at me that night changed everything. I had known Riley for years, long enough to memorize the way she tied her hair up when she was focused. The way her laugh filled a room like the first crack of thunder before a storm. She was my best friend, my safe place, the person I ran to with every triumph and every heartbreak. But one night together, one moment of vulnerability, and suddenly, I could never look at her the same way again. It started with an invitation. A harmless, spontaneous idea. Come over. Riley had texted earlier that afternoon. I got wine. We need a girls' night. I hadn't hesitated. It wasn't unusual for us to spend evenings together, sprawled out on our couch, talking until the city. Outside, quieted to a hush. But this time, the moment I stepped inside her apartment, something felt different. Maybe it was the way she smiled at me. A slow, knowing grin that sent an unexpected warmth curling through my stomach. Maybe it was the candlelight flickering softly on her coffee table, casting golden shadows across her face. Or maybe it was just me, something shifting, something awakening that I hadn't dared to name before. We drank, we laughed, we reminisced about college, about bad dates and embarrassing confessions, whispered in the dark. But as the night stretched on, the air between us thickened. Words grew softer. Glances lingered longer than they should have. I caught her staring at me more than once, and every time our eyes met, my breath hitched just a little. Then it happened. A moment so small, so fleeting, but enough to send my entire world spinning. I had been teasing her, nudging her shoulder as I told some ridiculous story, when she reached up and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. A simple gesture. Innocent, if not for the way her fingers lingered against my skin, warm and deliberate. I froze. She didn't move away. She murmured. My name barely more than a breath. My heart slammed against my ribs. Riley had never looked at me like that before, like she was seeing something she hadn't allowed herself to see until now. Or maybe I was the one finally opening my eyes. You ever think? She hesitated, biting her lip. And I swore I could feel the heat of her body despite the space between us. The words hung there, unfinished, but I knew. I knew exactly what she was about to say. And suddenly, everything, the years of closeness, the effortless way we fit together, the unspoken electricity that had always been there, came rushing to the surface. My fingers trembled as I reached for my glass, desperate for something to ground me. Riley? My voice was hoarse, barely steady. She didn't look away, didn't laugh it off, didn't pretend it was nothing. Instead, she leaned in just enough that I could feel her breath against my skin. Tell me I'm wrong, she whispered. I couldn't. And that terrified me. Riley didn't move, didn't pull away. Neither did I. The room around us had gone still, the soft hum of the city outside drowned by the pounding of my heartbeat. Her fingers, still brushing my hair, were impossibly warm. My skin burned where she touched me, but it wasn't just from the wine. It was something I had never allowed myself to feel before. A sharp inhale, mine broke the silence. Riley's eyes flickered down to my lips, and for a moment, I thought she might close the space between us. I thought I might let her. Then, I panicked. I stood too fast, nearly knocking over my glass. I should. My voice caught in my throat. I forced a laugh, something light, something that didn't sound like I was unraveling from the inside out. I should go. It's late. Riley stayed seated, watching me carefully. She wasn't smiling anymore. She started, her voice softer now, almost pleading. I knew if I let her say anything else, I wouldn't be able to leave, so I didn't. I grabbed my coat, muttered something about work in the morning. And before she could stop me, I was out the door. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the evening. It's the way she looked at me, like she saw straight through me. It's the way her fingers trembled just slightly as she tucked my hair away. It's the way I wanted, no, needed to. Know what would have happened if I hadn't run? Riley had always been in my life, always been my constant. We met in college, an instant bond forming over shared late-night study sessions and mutual disdain for bad coffee. She was the one who held me together when my last relationship crashed and burned. She was the one I trusted more than anyone. But there was something else, something I had buried so deep that I hadn't even recognized it for what it was. Until tonight, I had spent years dating men, convincing myself that I was simply unlucky in love, that no one had ever made my heart race the way the movies promised. I never questioned why, never stopped to think that maybe I had been looking in the wrong places all along, until now. Till my phone buzzed, breaking me from my spiraling thoughts. Riley's name flashed on the screen, followed by a message. "Are you okay?" A simple morning came too quickly. I had barely slept, my mind circling the same thought over and over again. What if I had stayed? By the time I dragged myself to work, I was running on caffeine and anxiety. The office was its usual blur of ringing phones and clacking keyboards, but I couldn't focus. My inbox was full, my to-do list endless, yet all I could think about was the unread message sitting on my phone. We should talk. Riley was never one for avoidance. She was direct, fearless in ways I envied. If she wanted to talk, it meant she wasn't willing to let this slip into the unspoken. The thought terrified me. Emily. I flinched at the sound of my boss's voice. Yes, she gave me a pointed look. You've been staring at the same email for 10 minutes? Are you all right? Yeah, just a long night, I said quickly, forcing a tight smile. If she noticed the lie, she didn't call me out on it. At lunch, I checked my phone again. Still nothing from Riley. The silence felt heavier than words. I wanted to reach out, but the truth was, I wasn't ready for whatever conversation she was about to have. Because if I admitted what I was feeling, if I let myself say it out loud, then there would be no going back. That evening, I found myself walking without direction, the city buzzing around me. My feet carried me past coffee shops and bookstores, through familiar streets until, before I even realized where I was going, I ended up in front of Riley's apartment building. My breath hitched. I could turn around. She didn't know I was here. I could pretend none of this happened, keep our friendship intact, bury these feelings back where they belonged. But then the door opened. Riley stepped out. Her hair damp from a shower, a worn hoodie, hanging off her frame. The moment she saw me, she froze. Her voice was quiet, but there was something raw underneath it, something that made my stomach twist. I swallowed hard. Hey, her eyes searched mine. Are you going to run again? The question hit like a punch to the chest. I spent my entire life running from uncertainty, from change, from anything that forced me to confront what I didn't want to face. But Riley had never been someone I wanted to run from. I exhaled, feeling the weight of everything pressing down on me. No, I whispered. Her shoulders relaxed slightly, but the tension between us didn't break. Good, she stepped aside, holding the door open. It's an invitation. For once, I didn't hesitate. And as I walked inside, I knew this moment, this choice, was about to change everything. The door clicked shut behind me, sealing us inside Riley's apartment. Inside this moment, this impossible tension that had been building for years without me even realizing it. She stood close, too close, and I could feel the warmth of her body in the dimly lit space between us. My heart was a war drum in my chest, pounding so loudly I was sure she could hear it. Riley exhaled, running a hand through her hair. You didn't text back. I swallowed. I didn't know what to say. She nodded slowly, as if she expected that answer. But you're here. I'm here, I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. Silence stretched between us, thick with everything unsaid. I wanted to speak, to explain why I ran, why I spent last night lying awake trying to convince myself that what almost happened, wasn't real. But Riley wasn't letting me escape this time. "Emily," she said, stepping forward. "Look. At me." I did. And the way she was looking at my intense, unguarded, like she wasn't afraid of the truth, made my knees weak. "I need you to be honest," she continued, her voice steady but laced with something desperate. "Do you feel it? Or am I alone in this?" My breath caught. I felt it. God, I felt it. The way my pulse quickened when she touched me, the way my chest ached when I thought about losing her. The way being here with her felt more right than anything ever had. But admitting it, saying the words out loud, that was terrifying. Riley must have seen the hesitation in my eyes because she took another step, closing the distance until there was nothing left between us but the truth. "If you don't want this, if this is nothing to you, tell me, and I swear, I'll let it go," she said, her voice raw. "But if you do, if there's even a chance you feel the same way, then stop running." She was giving me an out, one last chance to walk away, to pretend none of this mattered. But for the first time, I didn't want to run. I wanted to know what would happen if I let myself have this. I let myself have her. I took a shaky breath. "I'm scared," I admitted. Riley's expression softened. "So am I." And that was all it took. The last thread of resistance snapped as I reached for her, my fingers tangling in the fabric of her hoodie as I pulled her close. Riley inhaled sharply, as if she hadn't believed I'd do it. But then her arms wrapped around me, holding me like she'd been waiting for this moment just as long as I had. I didn't know what came next. I didn't know if I was ready for what this meant. But I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't letting her go. For a moment, everything felt perfect. Riley's arms were around me, her breath warm against my skin. The world outside didn't exist. Just this moment, just us. But then my phone vibrated in my pocket. I ignored it at first. Whatever it was, it could wait. But then it buzzed again. And again. A sharp, insistent rhythm that shattered the delicate quiet between us. Riley pulled back. Slightly, her brows furrowing. "You should get that." I shook my head. "It's not." The buzzing stopped, replaced by a notification on my screen. "Unknown number. You need to know the truth about Riley." My stomach dropped. The warmth of the moment vanished in an instant. My fingers clenched around the phone as a second message came through. Then a third. I felt Riley watching me, her posture shifting, tension creeping into her shoulders. "Emily." I swallowed hard. "I don't know." I opened the messages, my hands suddenly unsteady. The first one was just an address. A place across town I didn't recognize. The second was a photo of Riley. She was standing outside a cafe talking to a woman I didn't recognize. Okay. But it wasn't just talking. There was an intensity in the way they stood together. It's the way Riley leaned in, her expression shadowed with something unreadable. And then the third message, ask her who she really is. My blood ran cold. Riley shifted beside me. "Hammaly, what's wrong?" I turned to face her, my voice barely steady. "Do you know this number?" She looked down at my screen, and in that instant, I saw a flicker of recognition in her eyes. It was brief, barely there, but I saw it. A silence stretched. Between us, heavier than anything before. "Who sent this?" she asked, her voice controlled. Too controlled. "I was hoping you could tell me," I said quietly, for the first time since I'd met Riley. I saw something close to fear in her expression. She hesitated, just a second too long. And in that second, something between us shifted. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I trusted, was hiding something. And suddenly, I wasn't sure if I had just walked into the safest place in the world or straight into something I wasn't ready to face. Riley's silence stretched between us like a chasm, wide and unbridgeable. "Say something," I whispered. Her jaw tensed. "It's not what you think." My fingers clenched around the phone. Then tell me what to think, Riley. Who sent this? Who is she? Riley exhaled sharply, running a hand through her hair. Her hesitation sent ice down my spine. Finally, she spoke, her voice low and controlled. Her name is Vanessa. The name meant nothing to me, but the way she said it, that meant everything. She's from my past, Riley continued. I didn't tell you because I didn't think it mattered anymore. But it does matter, I shot back, because someone clearly wants me to know. She took a step closer. Emily, I swear to you. Whatever she said, whatever you think you saw, it's not the whole story. Whole story. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But trust wasn't built on wanting. It was built on truth. I lifted my phone, showing her the message. Then tell me the part I don't know. Riley's throat bobbed. Then she reached into her pocket and pulled out her phone. My heart pounded as she scrolled, then turned the screen toward me. A text conversation from Vanessa. You can't hide forever. She'll find out, Riley. Stay out of this. This has nothing to do with you. Vanessa, it has everything to do with me. My breath hitched. Riley swallowed hard. I was trying to protect you. My mind raced, piecing fragments together. Protect me from what? Riley hesitated, just long enough for my stomach to drop. And then a loud bang echoed from outside the apartment. I jumped. Riley's entire body went rigid. What was that? I whispered Dot. She didn't answer. She was already moving, crossing the room in quick strides, peering through the blinds. Her muscles tensed, a sharp inhale cutting through the silence. Then she turned to me, and for the first time I saw something raw in her eyes. Fear. We have to go, she said. What? Why? She grabbed my hand. Because Vanessa isn't just from my past. Her voice was low, urgent. She's here. My heart nearly stopped. Everything I thought I knew about this moment, this relationship, this night had just changed forever. Riley's grip on my wrist was firm, but not forceful. Her urgency vibrating through every inch of my skin. My heart pounded as she pulled me toward the door. Riley, wait, I gasped, yanking my arm free. Tell me what's going on. Who is Vanessa? Why is she here? Riley hesitated, her chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. Outside, the world seemed to hold its breath, a silence stretching between us like a thread about to snap. She was someone I cared about, Riley finally admitted, a long time ago. I swallowed hard, and now, a flicker of something crossed her face. Now, she's dangerous. Before I could ask what that meant, a sharp knock echoed through the apartment. My stomach twisted. Riley grabbed my hand again, her voice barely above a whisper. No matter what she says, don't believe her. I barely had time to nod before she opened the door. Vanessa stood in the hallway, her gaze piercing and unreadable. Her presence felt like a cold gust of wind, beautiful but with an edge sharp enough to cut. Riley, she said, tilting her head slightly. You're always running, aren't you? Riley stood firm. I told you to stay away. Vanessa's lips curled into a smirk before she turned to me. Emily, right? I forced myself to hold her gaze. What do you want? Her smile faded. The truth. Riley shifted, placing herself between us. You don't get to decide what that is. Vanessa sighed, her eyes darkening. So you still haven't told her? I looked at Riley, a knot forming in my stomach. Told me? What? Silence. Then I used to be engaged to her. Riley whispered. The words hit me like a wave, knocking the air from my lungs. Engaged. Not just someone from her past. Not just a mistake. Vanessa let out a soft, bitter laugh. She never told you, did she? Stop, Riley warned. But I needed to hear this. I needed the truth. Vanessa's eyes locked onto mine. She didn't leave because she stopped loving me. She left. Because she was scared. Riley tensed. That's not. She does this. Vanessa continued. Runs when things get real. She left me, and now she's doing it again. Only this time it's you. A lump formed in my throat. I turned to Riley, my voice barely a whisper. Is that true? Riley's lips parted, but no words came out, and in that silence, I knew. She wasn't afraid of Vanessa. She was afraid of us. Afraid of feeling something real, something she couldn't control. The air in the room shifted. Then, quietly, Riley said, I don't want to run anymore. Her fingers found mine, hesitant but firm. Emily, I love you. I was scared before, but not anymore, Vanessa sighed, stepping back. Then don't mess this up. She turned on her heel, disappearing into the night. The door clicked shut. Riley looked at me waiting. I exhaled, the weight of everything settling in my chest. Then, slowly, I tightened my grip on her hand. I'm not going anywhere, I said. Riley let out a breath she'd been holding for far too long. And then, finally, she pulled me into her arms, and I knew. This was where I was meant to be. Did you enjoy this story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next? Comment below.